everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today, first, this is the new thing. Let me know what you guys think. The poppers already love it. Falco is super excited to have a chair with me. I'm not married to the background yet. I might switch things up. I don't know yet. I would love to know what you guys think, if it's all right or not, if we like the aesthetic. Rogue will sometimes come and gargoyle up here, so that's always fun. And then Falco right now is just curled all around me. But for today, we are going to be taking a look at two of the Adept Cosmetics palettes. So we have the Plain Jane palette, which is this fancy guy right here. Love those colors. And the Ninhydrin palette, which is all of these fancy guys. So I feel like as I look at these two color stories that the primary differences on there are that these are some of the deeper shades, especially with the purples and the blues, whereas in the Plain Jane palette you have a little bit more of neutral tones and not quite as deep of shades. And so if you're someone that likes some of the deeper tones, I would recommend Ninhydrin over the Plain Jane. But we're going to be taking a look at both of them. We're going to swatch both of them. I'm going to do an eye look or two. Have to wait and see. And so we're going to zoom in a little bit so we've got a little bit of a better view as we're going through all of that. All right, so first up we're going to swatch the Plain Jane palette, and the way that they have the shade names listed on here is just with some letters and numbers, and so I will do my best to read those off appropriately. So the first shade up is probably, I would say, the deepest shade in the entirety of the palette, and that is AC11, which is a nice kind of coppery tone. Does have a shift between an orange and then like a deeper bronzy shade. So there's that guy. Camera's definitely picking up a lot of that more bronzy tone rather than the gold, but as I shift my hand you can see a little bit of the gold on there. Next up is going to be AC12. And that is a very nice kind of gold to burnt rose. So there is that guy. Very, very pretty. And so far these guys are swatching like really, really nice, like butter. So very nice formula on there. The consistency is very nice and soft. Then we have AC13, which is going to be more of a pinkish rose shade, also super duper pigmented. Then we have AC14, which is more of a purple shade. Very light purple with some kind of goldish speckles. Then we have AC15. Ooh, she is shifty. So that is a pink to gold shift. You can see the pink really well in the camera, and then as I turn my hand, there's the gold. Very pretty. Then we have AC16. Huh. All right, and this guy is definitely a multi-chrome. It's got a blue to purplish to pink shift. So there in the center you can see a little bit of that blue. There's the purplish, a little bit of the pink. Very, very pretty though. Oh man, I really like that shade. I will say that one is not quite as opaque as some of these deeper tones on here. And so I think you could definitely probably build that one up to be more opaque, but for right now, it's looking more like a topper shade. Next up, we have AC17, which is also shifty and very similar formula to this guy, that it's a little bit more sheer. And this has a green to pink with a little bit of an orange shift in there as well. So there's the green. And then you can see a little bit of the orange and then a little bit of the pink as I turn my hand. Very, very nice. Then we have AC18. Okay. That one actually comes across a little bit more similar to this guy, where you've got like a pink to bluish shift. So very similar. You're getting a little more of the blue on this one in the camera. Then we have AC19. And this guy is like a green to more orangey copper shade, but also similar to this guy, just that the green pops a little bit more. You can definitely see as I move my arm a little bit of the copper around the edges. So I've definitely been saying the shade names wrong. So it's not AC like 11 or 12, it's been ACI 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is ACI 1, ACI 2, ACI 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now we are on ACI 10. maybe one day I'll be able to figure out how to say shade names correctly, because that seems to be like a consistent issue for me. Alright, so this guy is a iridescent shade that is a pink to kind of goldish shift on there. So you can see definitely the pink, but it is super duper faint in the camera. Then we have ACI 11, which is a purple to blue with some magenta in there as well. Ooh, there you go. Look at the shine on that one. Holy moly, that is pretty shade. All right, and then the last one in the Plain Jane palette is going to be ACI 12. And that is this hot pink shade. And that has like a peachy tone to a hot pink with a little bit of some gold shimmer on there. And the camera is just coming across real hot pink. With maybe ever so slight of like a purple shift on there. I can't get over this shade. Like this guy right there is very pretty. So that is the entirety of the Plain Jane palette right here. And I am pleasantly surprised. There are some deeper tones on here, even though they're a bit more on the neutral side, but still very nice. And then you do have a very nice number of topper shades on there as well. All right, so now we're gonna get into the Ninhydrin palette, and there are 2 matte shades in the Ninhydrin palette, whereas in the Plain Jane palette there were none. So that is something of note. So first up we have ACM 31, which is the first of the matte shades, and that is just a nice kind of brownish mauve-y tone. I would say it does have a little bit of a mauve purple undertone to it, so it's not like a true chocolatey brown. Then we have ACD 18. Okay, this is a very nice iridescent. It's got like a pink to gold shift. Very pretty. I will say that this one has a little bit more of a dry consistency, whereas a lot of these were very soft. This one a bit drier. Next we have ACI 18. Okay, and that's back to that wetter consistency. This guy is actually pretty similar. See what I mean? Those 2 shades that line up with each other. Very similar in that they are like a burnt rose to kind of gold shift. I can't really tell a difference between the 2. So from my perspective, they are the same. So the ACI 3 and the ACI 18 come across as identical. All right, then we have the ACI 22, which is like a green to copper shift. Ooh, with a little bit of pink in there. Look at that one. That is very nice. Then we have the second matte shade, which is ACM 32. And that is this guy. And you can definitely see more of the purple undertones on that first matte shade when looking at the second one, which is definitely more of like a mustardy undertone rather than a mauve purple undertone. Then we have ACI 19. Yep. Oh man, all right, so this guy is a really cool multi-chrome. It's got like, I am seeing nothing but gold, and then it shifts to like a pink into a purplish with maybe a little bit of green on there. Oh, that is a very nice shade. Very pigmented. Holy cow, for sure that is a strong shade. Then we have ACI 20. Ooh, she is smooth like butter. And that is another multi-chrome that's got like a blue to pink to purple shift. Really picking up a lot of the blue and then the purple just around the edges a little bit there. All right, next up is ACI 21. And this one is definitely a thicker consistency than some of the others. And you can see super pigmented on that one. And that is like a stunning navy with like a little bit of purple and gold bespecklement in there, but primarily just that really nice navy shade. Then we have the Ninhydrin shade. So no lettering for that one. Definitely a little bit lighter than that one as far as the formula goes. More of a topper shade again, rather than being super opaque. And this guy has like a purplish lilac shade to pink to gold shift. So you can definitely get that purple on there. I'm almost in the camera feeling like I'm getting a little bit of green as well. Next up we have ACI 23. Okay, that is a very nice purple shade. I will say that this shade is super similar to the blue one in that both of them don't have a ton of shift to them, but just have some pretty little sparkles in there, but primarily just either purple or blue. Not really getting too much of a shift on either of those shades. All right, then we have ACI 24. All right, ooh. That is a very nice shade. Oh wow. It's like blue to purple to pink to like a peachy shade. Look at that. I mean, yeah, starts off like reddish orange, goes into purple, into blue. Holy moly, that is a nice shade. I really like that one. And then the last shade is ACI 25, which is a lovely green shade, also feels like butter. And that one has what looks like a lime green to almost like a little bit of teal blue and then some pink speckles on there. So there's a little bit of the blue on this end when I turn my arm and then lime green. But very, very pretty. Oh man, these last two shades are just very, very pretty. Really like those. All right, and that is the entirety of the Ninhydrin palette. So this is both of them all together. So really nice smattering of pretty much all colors. I think the only thing I'm really kind of missing on there is like a nice yellowish. All right, I think what I'm gonna end up doing is, so the two deepest shades to me are definitely the blue and the purple shade, and so I think those are going to be the ones that I'm going to use to kind of deepen up the looks, and so those will be in the outer corners. So I think the direction of like colors that I want to go is perhaps like doing the reds and pinks to purple and then doing like a green to blue. And the fun thing is that like the reds and pinks and the greens all have like a certain amount of gold shift to them as well. And so I think that'll be really fun to kind of incorporate some of that on there too. So we're gonna do two different eye looks, one on each eye. So I'm gonna zoom you in even closer. All right, so I am going to go ahead and start off with a bit of a floofy brush. And we're just gonna skip right over the mattes. Like we're not even gonna get into those. It's just gonna be pure shimmer all over again. I'm gonna love it, it's gonna be great. I think I'm gonna do the pinkish, goldish, purple one first on this eye, and then we'll get into the bluish green one on that eye. The first shade I think I'm going to use is going to be ACI 5 from the Plain Jane palette. Alright, so the second shade that I'm going to go into is that ACI 18, which looks real similar to the ACI 3. Definitely still very much on the neutral side of things right now, so I think I'm going to go into ACI 12, which is that really bright magenta shade from the Plain Jane palette. So far that's blending together pretty nicely. I will comment, there's like zero fallout so far. I'm using a floofy brush, like I'm not even using a packing brush, and there is no fallout at all anywhere on my face. So that is something very nice to note. All right, so now I think we're gonna get into some of the purple shades, and I am going to start layering those on the lid portion only, so we still see the pink portion above it. So I am going to go into a little bit more of just a packing brush rather than the floofy brush for that portion. So for that, we're gonna start off with, I think, the Ninhydrin shade, which is this super pretty shifty shade right there. Definitely went on really, really nice. So I think that the next shade we're going to go into is going to be the ACI 11, which is this really pretty shifty purple shade. Okay, I think I'm going to go into the ACI 4 shade, which is this lighter lilac shade, and bring a little bit of the purple back on top of It's so shifty at this point. Like, I'm getting like all the colors right now on this eye, and I am loving this. Okay, and then the last shade that we're gonna go into is that really lovely deep purple shade right here. Oh, and because there is ever so slightly like a blue undertone to that shade, so it actually blends really, really nicely into that middle shade that we had. Oh, she is looking real, real nice. Okay, so I will say that the ACI 23 shade, that darker purple, did have literally 3 specks of fallout, and that was it. So now for the under eye, we are going to go into ACI 24 from the Ninhydrin palette, which is this red to blue to purple shift. Okay, so the front half, we're gonna go back into this guy. We're gonna do that first, and then we will go into the ACI 24 from the Ninhydrin palette for the back half. So we're just gonna use 2 shades on there. I definitely think that the ACI 11 shade is very reminiscent of the Adept Cosmetics flaky shades, because it definitely is one of those ones where it doesn't want to get on the brush very easily, but once you do get it on there and you're able to kind of pack it in, it gives you a really, really nice finish, but it is a bit more of that flaky consistency. So that's something to just kind of note, is that that particular shade, and that's the only one so far where I've noticed that, has a little bit of that more tricky formula to it. So just be cognizant of that. So now we're gonna go into the Ninhydrin palette for the back half. I am loving these shades. Oh man. All right, so for the inner corner, we want to do the shade ACI 10. Awesome. Okay. All right, so I am going to go ahead and tightline, throw on mascara, and then we are going to come back and do that greenish blue look on the other eye. All right, and we are back with the final look. So I'm going to come in close so that you guys can see all of the shinies, and let me know what you think before we jump into the next look. So there is all of the shimmers going on, and definitely really, really love how this look turned out. I think that this color underneath, that's like that purple to green, is just absolutely stunning. I really like how the whole thing turned out. Just tons and tons of colors. Whew, okay, I am ready to do the next one. We are going to start off with, in the Ninhydrin palette, ACI 22. I think that's gonna start off really, really nice. And then we're gonna get into more green and then more green. I don't know why I'm pointing at this eye. It's not going on this one. So next up, we're gonna go into ACI 9. And then the last shade is gonna be ACI 25. That is a very nice green shade. All of these shades so far are going really, really nicely together. I'm actually really liking that this gold shade up front also has like a pinkish shift with it, because it's like blending with the other shades perfectly to where it's still creating like a really nice rainbow with it. I really like these shades. I am not upset about any of this so far. Okay, so now we need to go into the blues. So first up, we're gonna go into ACI 8. Oh man, do you ever just have those eye looks where you're like, I regret nothing? That is this eye right now. So next up, we're gonna do ACI 20. These shades are also just layering like an absolute dream. And then the final shade is going to be that ACI 21, which is the really nice navy blue. Okay, so I think for the bottom, we're gonna do a little bit more of some coppery shades. Rogue wants to gargoyle. All right, so we are going to start off with these two more coppery shades. We're gonna start off with the ACI 2 and then go into the ACI 1 and then blend it all together. Alright, so now all we need to do is the inner corner, and for that, I think we're gonna go into the ACD 18, which is this really light iridescent that's like a pink to yellow shift. Alright, I am going to tightline, throw on mascara, come back in for the final zoom in, and then I want to know your guys' thoughts because I really like how this turned out, and I really want to know what you guys think. Alright, so we are finally done. I'm going to come in close so you guys can see the final look. So here are the final shades with all of their shimmers. I think both of them turned out really, really nifty. I like both of them. This is super bright with like all the purples and pinks. This guy is like every shade of the rainbow, it seems like. Yes, I would love to know what you guys think of both of the eye looks, all the swatches, the color stories, everything. I absolutely love both looks. I think they're super colorful, super pretty. But let me know what you guys thought. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you did not. Either way, let me know. And I did, in fact, order the Codain palette, and so I think they said that like shipping for that one is like September or something crazy like that. I don't even remember, but the pre-order was like real early, and so I did end up picking up that one. So whenever it arrives, I'll make sure to do a video for you guys so you can see what that one looks like as well. I do also have another video planned where I'm going to be swatching some of the shades from both of these palettes along with a couple shades from a few other brands, just because the owner from Adept Cosmetics has been like really open about how she sold the formula for some of the shades, and so I wanted to see what other companies might have picked up that particular formula, because I definitely noticed some similarities between a few different brands, and so I wanted to swatch those for you guys so you can just see what shades are similar, if not exactly the same thing. So that you guys know if you're picking up one palette from one company, is it the exact same thing? Should you just grab the Adept one? Are there different shades? I'm gonna let you guys know all of that, so that is also an upcoming video. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that. Is that something you guys would be interested in seeing? I know a lot of you guys really like when I do those videos where I'm just swatching like 50 million different brands, and then you can decide for yourselves which palettes are the best. And so I'm planning on doing that. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. But if you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would sure love it if you would subscribe. We just talk a ton about indie brands on here, lots and lots of colorful makeup. We do also look at some neutral things with pops of color, because I need to remind myself how to do a good neutral look, because it's been so long since I have done one of those that I'm like, do I even remember how to do a good neutral eye? Who knows? So I'm planning on doing some of those as well coming up here, but highly suggest that you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can see every single time that I plop out videos on here. Other than that, that is my video on Adept Cosmetics, and you guys just go have a good one.